Hi, many of my friends ask me how machine learning works. That's the reason I have just want to give a very small video on how actually machine learning is working in the backend. It's very easy and very simple to understand how it is working. So let's take an example how intuitively we can understand. Let's take a basic example, right? How we can use this one in the machine learning. Okay. If you see here, we have an input called x and then we have an output called y. Okay, if you pass input as a 2 and the corresponding output is 4. And next row, suppose you are passing input as 3 and then you are getting 6 as the output. At the third row, if you see, we are passing 4 and you are getting 8 as the input. So similarly, if you pass as 5, it's very easy and even like a fifth class student can understand the value here is 10, right? So what is happening in our mind, right? We are, based on this example, what we understood is whenever we are passing x, we are getting y as 2 times the x, okay? 2 times x.
ఇట్లా క్వశ్చన్ చెప్పు.
So this is the equation. We ourselves, since we are already known this, it's a very simple equation, so we understood it is like y equal to 2 times x. Okay, let me add one more component over here called c. It is 0 times c, right? So the same thing. So it is actually a y equal to mx plus c. This is simple linear equation. Okay. Now let me take one more example that will give you a little bit same kind of understanding to you. Let's take another example. Similarly, if you see, if you're passing 2, we are getting 5 as the output. So what could be the answer over here? Straightforward, right? It is like 11. So what actually is happening in the back end? You see y equal to 2 times x plus 1, right? So see, so you understood, right? This is how the machine learning. Okay, now it's a simple one variable as the input, and you are saying initially what we are doing is we are training our brains saying this is the input, this is the output, and this is the input, this is the output. So while seeing this input, what is happening in our head, we're actually trying to create a one formula 2 times x or 2 times x. So what is happening? So we are understood that we are created like inside what is the formula, and then we are able to predict the output for unseen data. Like if you see 5, right? We haven't seen this. What is the value for 5 earlier, but we are able to predict. Now it is 11. So this is called as supervised machine learning method. Okay. So if you comes to that machine learning terminologies, x is called as the input feature and y is called as the labeling data. Okay, since we are passing this y also, the y values also into the model or machine to understand what is the data or based on the labels. So this is called as the supervised machine learning. Right? So if it is this much simple, then why we need machine to understand this data? Okay, take an example. Rather than passing only x as the input, if you have an input is like a x1, x2 or x3. So to get a equation y equal to, for example, c1 times x1 plus c2 times x2. So getting this kind of equation it is